Hey everyone, we are at the National Cannabis Policy Summit here in Washington, D.C. In just a few minutes, you will be hearing directly from NORML founder Keith Stroup and U.S. Representative Earl Blumenauer. We'll be talking about the past 5 decades they've spent fighting for cannabis justice. We're waiting for the last panel to wrap up, and then we'll be right back so you can hear from Keith and Representative Blumenauer. So hang tight.
That's me. I'll do 3, 4. Folks, it's a true honor and a privilege for me to present a special award to Earl Blumenauer. Earl and I first met way back in 1973 in Oregon, and Earl was a young state legislator in his first term. I think he served 3 terms altogether at that point. And he was a co-sponsor of the first bill in the country to decriminalize small amounts of marijuana. You may recall the Schaefer Commission, National Commission on Marijuana and Drug Abuse. They have recommended that we decriminalize marijuana, and a whole lot of cities started introducing bills, but of course there was a lot of reticence, there was a lot of fear. There was a sense that, my goodness, if you eliminate criminal penalties, the sky will fall. All the kids are going to be stoned all day long. And some of the same arguments we hear today. Earl and his colleagues in the Oregon legislature had the courage to move forward with that. And it was an incredibly important first phase. Now, he said that he learned then that it wasn't just decriminalization we needed, but it was full legalization. And although he ended up spending, I think, 8 years on the Multnomah County Commissioner, and then he served 10 years on the Portland City Council, in 1996, he was first elected to Congress, and since that time, he has literally been our most important and most influential advocate. He's played an enormously powerful role. For example, he, along with Jared Ellis and a couple of other people, first started, I think they call it the Marijuana Working Group first, but then in 2017, it became the Cannabis Caucus, something which you would have never been allowed to even say out loud a few years earlier. I think it must take a great courage to do, and I think it was a terribly important step politically. So in recognizing the enormous contribution that Earl Blumenauer has made over 5 decades, NORML established a new award called the 2024 inaugural Earl Blumenauer Trailblazer Award, presented for the first time to its name, Earl Blumenauer. In recognition of pioneering lawmakers who made the path toward cannabis legalization for other legislators to follow. Mr. Blumenauer. Welcome to the celebration of 420. I know it's 417. We talked about that this morning when we gathered on the Capitol grounds for this recognition. And I made the point that it is 417 when we're celebrating 420. But I think our challenge this year is to celebrate 420 every day. Every day. Thursday, Friday, all next week, all next month. Keith, kind of out of you. I've been doing this longer than most of you have been alive. And it's been one of the most rewarding aspects of the things I've been able to do in public service. I mean, transportation, bicycles, food. I mean, there are a whole host of these things that matter to me where the public is starting to catch up with us. But nothing compares to the revolution that is taking place with cannabis. Yeah. 97% of the American public have access to some form of legalized cannabis. Dozens of states have legalized medical marijuana. They're little tailored, Charlotte's Law. I mean, this has been ubiquitous. There's almost 500,000 people who work in state legal cannabis business. Think about it. It's an important part of our economy. And think of how much more a part of our economy will be when it is fully legal. Yeah. I'm tired of the profits going to cheaters, people cutting corners or cartels or whatever the hell. That's not right. Not right. I'm the first to admit I don't want kids using cannabis. You all know that can be devastating on young, developing minds. But how are we going to stop it? There isn't any corner drug dealer on this program that checks ID. They don't have a license to lose. They're competing against the people who are playing by the rules, many of whom have been empowered by legislation to promote racial equity and economic justice. And we're cutting the ground out from underneath them, allowing a black market to flourish. That's one of the most important reasons that we need to fully legalize cannabis. It's to stop the cheating, the people who are threatening our children, who are colluding with cartels. And the federal government is able, after spending hundreds of billions of dollars on a failed war on drugs, they're not here now when they can do it service. But this is the year that we're going to change that. I'm wearing my gold ghost bow tie. We're going for the gold. Yes. I'm only going to be in Congress 7.5 more months. I want us to cross this finish line. Right. We have legislation in Congress that can pass. We've got powerful allies in the Senate. The Senate used to be the place where good House legislation went to die in Mitch McConnell's cannabis hospice. Not anymore. We've got Chuck Schumer, Oregon's Ron Wyden, Cory Booker. These guys are leading the charge in the Congress so that the Senate is a full partner with this. And it's
somewhat ironic that we're having to challenge this, but we have the pieces in place to move forward. The Safe Banking Act. And I know there's some people that, they have different priorities. For me, safe banking is the ultimate whip count. Because we'll find out where people really stand. And I think when we vote on it, and I hope that's soon in the Senate, it's going to show that there's 60, 65, 70 senators that'll come out of the closet and make a stand on this critical item. It gives us a whip list to work with. But as encouraged as I am about the prospect of getting it passed in the Senate, how it's really going to get across the finish line, I think, is when the federal government finally flexes its muscle in favor of descheduling and legalization. I take every chance I get to nudge my friends in the Biden administration. Joe Biden has come a long way on this. At one point, he was kind of an apologist for the failed war on drugs. And he's reluctantly, haltingly made some adjustments. He has pardoned thousands of people. He called for an initiation of rescheduling. This is great, but it's not enough. If I'm advising Joe Biden, and I have tried to do that, by the way, with anybody who's involved in the political organization there, I make the point the quickest way to engage young people, minority voters, to break the mold is to come out four square for legalization, for compassion for people who have been caught up in the legal morass of the failed war on drugs, and make it clean blanket. This can be done. I think one of them, I have no doubt about the sincerity of Leader Schumer, Senator Wyden, Senator Booker, but they wouldn't be Chairman Wyden, Chairman Booker, Leader Schumer, if it weren't for cannabis. I worked with John Fetterman for years. He came out early for full legalization. And if he hadn't done that, he wouldn't have won that close race in Pennsylvania for the U.S. Senate. They'd still be in the minority. But he took a firm stand. And that was part of what was the momentum that got us the majority. It's part of the momentum that made Joe Biden win in Arizona. You know that we wouldn't have won Arizona for Joe Biden if it weren't for legal cannabis on the ballot that passed 60-40 and pulled young voters to the polls and being sympathetic. This is political reality. I have been working on this for over 50 years. I think I've been involved with every state legal initiative. I've traveled, I've lobbied. There is nobody, I will declare unequivocally, there's nobody in America who was punished for being supportive of legalized cannabis. Nobody. In fact, the contrary. It is something that has helped Democrats across the country. It's something that has helped people of color, young candidates. And it's time to unlock the full power of legalization, being straight with the American public and making sure that we mobilize the pro-cannabis electorate. Because we need it. Democracy is on the line this election. We have an opportunity to take over the House of Representatives, taking it away from, I'm trying to think of a polite way to describe the chaos that is the House Republican leadership and crazy members. There's no other way about it. These people are unhinged and they are dangerous. And we can throw them out of office. At least we won't be in the majority. And so, I thank you for the award. I thank you for the partnership. Some of you, like me, I've been working with for over 50 years. We're watching this come to fruition. I have done this all my adult life and before. I could not be more excited about where we are now. The coalition is growing. We're being able to engage every part of this vast coalition. Young people, people of color, people who have been victimized by this failed war on drugs. It's also a key to the economy. I mean, already we have almost 500,000 people who work in the legal cannabis business. And once we legalize and pull in people on the periphery, it'll be 1 million folks. It'll go from, pick a number, 40 billion to 200 billion. And it's not just the economy. It speaks to the power of cannabis for healthcare, for research, for individual liberties. It's time for us to realize the promise of 420 and get this job done. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing.
All right, whoops. Tested. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. We're supposed to be doing what they were calling a fireside chat. I'm never quite sure what. Bill means the laws. Are you aware of the comment of the significance of what was happening?
Yes and no. I mean, I had a sense that it was important. I had a sense that we were making history. I didn't realize the full impact. And I didn't realize that it would sort of take over my life. But I have no complaints. It's the right thing to do. We have seen amazing progress. I didn't think it would take so long to get to this point. But I'm excited that 70% of the American people now support the majority of Republicans support full legalization. And I think those dominoes are going to fall pretty quickly. I think that what happened with marriage equality not too long ago, he couldn't convict marriage equality. And the first start moved everything part of it by speaking out President Obama. And overnight, people can't imagine the world. I think it is with cannabis.
When you go into the 70% support now, back in 73, when Oregon first passed that bill, I think over 12% of the country favored legalizing marijuana. 88% were opposed to what we were trying to do.
Yes.
We've come a long way.
Yes. that 80% comprised about 70% who didn't know the facts. And when we started making clear what the stakes were, what the facts were, that helped shift it. But that late support was there still.
All right, second question, David, discussion point. Decades after the first victory in Oregon, more than half of Americans live in states where cannabis is legal and public support for legalization is at record lows. But comments have been slowed down. There have been a lot of legislative progress. Tell us about
Well, I guess that's what we get at the DC Public Library, but hang tight and we're going to try to get that live stream right back up for you. All right, I went in there myself to try to just stream it directly from my phone, and even I can't get the stream to come up inside the auditorium. But I think that we do have a video recording of this, so we will be sure to post the entirety of the conversation with Chief Stroup, NORML founder, and U.S. Representative Earl Blumenauer, their fireside chat a little bit later today as soon as we have the whole video. Thanks to all of you who joined to watch this with us. It's really been an exciting day here at the National Cannabis Policy Summit. Take a quick second before you leave, hit that like, follow, or subscribe button, and say thank you to Representative Blumenauer for his work alongside NORML over these past 5 decades, fighting for cannabis justice. Big congratulations to him on his award today, the inaugural Earl Blumenauer Trailblazer Award. Really excited to honor him today for his work. And join me back here on Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern for Live with NORML. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.